Kamsi wasn't just the eldest daughter in the household, she was a tornado dressed in fine Ankara. She had a presence that made walls shake, a voice that echoed like thunder, and a glare that could silence even the nosiest market women of Oyo. Her siblings called her General Kamzy behind her back, not because they were fond of her, but because living under her roof felt like military training. Iba, her younger sister, often tiptoed around the house like a cat burglar, trying not to trigger Kamzy's wrath. It could be anything: using her special cup, breathing too loudly, or daring to sit in her throne, the cushion closest to the fan. Iba, who said, "You can wear my earrings," Kamzy barked one humid afternoon, bursting into the room like an EFCC officer with a warrant. Iba trembled. It was just for a second. I wanted to see." Slap. The sound echoed through the compound like a burst balloon. Even Malam Idris, the old gatekeeper, paused mid-yawn and looked up. "You will see more than that. In this house, if you don't respect hierarchy, I'm the first daughter. This is not a democracy, it's a monarchy." Mama Kamzy, tired and always one hair strand away from a breakdown, would often mutter, "I don't know where this girl came from. She must be from her father's stubborn lineage." Papa Kamsi, on the other hand, saw no fault. He'd say, sipping hot ogogoro at the corner, "She'll make a fine leader someday." But nobody else saw leadership. They saw a dictator. Even in school, Mr. Lumide, her long-suffering literature teacher, dreaded calling on her. "Miss Kamsi, do you care to share your opinion on Things Fall Apart?" "Of course, sir," she'd stand with flair. The real tragedy of Okonkwo was that nobody listened to him, just like in this house where I say things and everybody behaves like I'm mad. The class roared with laughter. Mr. Olamide sighed. Then came the turning point. One evening, just before the harmattan set in, a mysterious visitor came knocking. Kalichi, their nosy neighbor, had just finished frying akara when he noticed a black SUV parked outside the gate. He dropped his spoon and rushed over like a journalist on assignment. A tall, graceful woman in a white buba and flowing gel stepped out, her eyes scanning the compound with purpose. "I'm looking for Kamzy," she said, her voice calm but commanding. Malam Idris scratched his head. She day inside. "Should I call M?" "Yes," the woman replied, smiling faintly. "Tell her her match has arrived." Kamzy sat cross-legged on the floor of the living room, surrounded by nail polish bottles, a half-eaten meat pie, and an untouched Bible opened to Psalms, more for decoration than devotion. Iba hovered by the doorway, praying silently that her sister wouldn't notice the scratch on her phone screen. Then came Malam Idris's gravelly voice. "Auntie Kamsi, one woman day outside. She say make, I tell you, say your match." Dan come Kamzy blinked. "My what?" "She say your match. And she day serious, no smile. She day with gel and high heels way make sound like judgment trumpet." Kamzy stood, wiping her fingers on Iber's wrapper without asking, "Who does this woman think she is?" She stepped outside with the grace of a queen, but her stomach churned. The compound had gone silent. Even the neighbor's generator chose that moment to rest. Standing there, looking like royalty dipped in calm thunder, was the woman, tall, composed, and piercingly quiet. "You are Kamsi." "I am," Kamsi said, straightening. "And you?" "I'm Nnenna, your aunt." "From your father's side?" "From Papa's side." Kamsi raised an eyebrow. "I thought they were all dead or divorced." Nnenna smiled. "Some of us are just hidden until it's time." There was something unsettling about her calm, the way her gaze stripped Kamzy of every false confidence and barked authority. "I came here because your mother wrote me a letter." "Mama can write," Kamzy muttered under her breath, but Nnenna heard. "Watch that tongue," she said sharply, like thunder cracking across a quiet sky. The audacity. Kamzy stiffened. She hadn't been checked like that since. "Ever." She said, "She's tired. That you've become too heavy a crown for the family." Kamzy's eyes narrowed. "Is that so?" "Yes. And she begged me to stay, to help guide you." "Guide me?" Kamzy scoffed. "I'm not a goat." "No, you're not. But sometimes lions raised in small cages forget the forest they were meant to rule." The words slapped harder than her usual ones. Even Iber, watching from the window, mouthed a silent jizz. From that day, Nnenna stayed in the house, but she didn't shout, she didn't slap, she didn't even raise her voice. And yet things began to change. On the first day, Kamsi came to the kitchen to bark at Iber for burning the rice, only to find Nnenna already there, gently stirring stew and humming an old Igbo hymn. "You're late." she said without looking up. Food is ready. Kamsi blinked. Who told you to cook? I told myself. I don't wait for instructions to fix broken homes. Kamsi opened her mouth, then closed it. Even her throat betrayed her. On the second day, Papa Kamsi came home, late, staggering slightly from Ogogoro. Usually, he would pass Kamsi with a grin, mutter something about her strength, and collapse on the sofa. But this time, Nnenna met him at the door. You smell of foolishness, she said plainly. Your wife is breaking, your children are cracking, and you are fermenting. Papa Kamsi froze. Kamsi gasped. Mama peeked from behind the curtain like a scared rabbit. Who is this woman? He asked finally. Your blood, Nnenna said, but unlike you, I don't waste mine. That night, Papa didn't drink. He sat quietly, holding Mama's hand like a student caught cheating in Bible class. Kamsi tried everything. She wore her most expensive wrappers. Nnenna wore plain white cotton. She shouted to command respect. Nnenna whispered and got obedience. She monitored everyone's movements like a warden. Nnenna moved like water, yet controlled the current. Even Eber, the eternal victim, began to change. She smiled more. She wore her hair out. She dared to sing while sweeping. It drove Kamsi mad. One night, she burst into Nnenna's room. What do you want from me? Nnenna sat by the window, peeling an orange. To see you become more than thunder. I don't understand your riddles. You will. The time will come when shouting won't work, when your power will be tested not in your house, but in life. Kamsi's chest heaved. Let me tell you something, Auntie. I don't like you. Nnenna looked up, smiled gently. That's okay. Growth is rarely comfortable. The silence in the living room after Adaku's revelation lingered like smoke. Amina sat stiffly on the sofa, arms folded, but her eyes flickered not with fear, but with something deeper, that she stood abruptly. So now everyone sees me as the villain, because I don't cry like Mama, or speak softly like Auntie. No one answered. Even Papa raised his glass quietly and took a long, slow sip. That night, the house shifted. Amina's control started slipping first, subtly. Eber, her usually timid sister, no longer jumped at her voice. Chuka, the youngest, stopped bringing her slippers in the morning. And Mama, she smiled more. Adaku's presence had become a balm for her. One afternoon, Amina returned from the market to find Adaku leading a small community prayer in the compound. Neighbors had gathered, even Mama was nodding along, eyes closed, as Adaku spoke about healing, truth, and reconciliation. Amina dropped her basket with a thud. The prayer halted. Adakuturned.com, as always. Join us, Amina. I'm not interested in your revival crusade, she snapped, then stormed inside. That night, Amina found her bedroom door locked. From the inside, Eber, she yelled, why is my room locked? Eber peeked from the corridor, eyes unsure. You don't live alone here, Amina. You can't just throw tantrums and expect us to scatter anymore. Amina stared at her sister. For the first time, Eber looked equal. But morning, the house felt different. The kitchen was clean, but not because Amina ordered it. Chuka had swept. Papa made breakfast. Mama was humming as she tied her wrapper. Amina stood frozen, toothbrush in hand. They were functioning without her. She stomped outside to find Adaku watering the flowers. You're turning my family against me, Amina accused. Adaku didn't flinch. No, Amina, you did that yourself. I'm just showing them they have a voice. The real crack came 3 days later. Papa received a letter from the Elders' Council. They were inviting a member of the household to speak at the village's Women and Youth Empowerment Forum. A rare honor. Naturally, Amina assumed it would be her. She had spoken at church programs, after all, but Papa handed the letter to Adaku. They asked for someone who brings peace. He said simply. Amina's face drained of color. That evening, she sat outside in the dark. For the first time in years, she didn't feel powerful. She felt alone. Adaku approached quietly and sat beside her. I know it hurts, she said, but this pain, it's the beginning of wisdom. Amina wiped her eyes quickly. You think I'm a monster? No, Adaku said gently. I think you're afraid, and fear makes tyrants of the best of us. A long pause passed between them. Then, Adaku added, you can still lead, but only if you're willing to listen first. The morning Amina disappeared. The house didn't notice at first. Her usual stomping, shouting, and complaints were gone, but so was her shadow. Mama noticed first. Where's Amina? Eber shrugged. She didn't sleep here last night. Her slippers are still outside. Adaku's brows furrowed. She left her phone too. Papa exhaled. Deeply, let her be. Maybe solitude will teach her what our words could not. But the silence dragged into the second day, then the third. Somewhere deep in the village, Amina sat beneath a mango tree, barefoot and broken. Her wrapper was dusty, her hair undone, her eyes swollen from crying. She had gone to her late grandmother's house, the abandoned one with vines curling through the windows. No one had touched it since Mama Grace passed 5 years ago. But here, Amina found something she hadn't known she needed. Silence. And a notebook. Buried in an old trunk, full of her grandmother's writings. Power without humility is a plague. Control is loud. Love is quiet but louder in the heart. A woman must be strong, yes. But strength with softness is the secret to true authority. Amina read through the night. Her pride broke like dry clay in rain. Day 4. She returned home. She didn't knock. She didn't shout. She just walked in. The family was gathered in the parlor. Chuka gasped. Eber's spoon froze midair. Amina stood in the doorway, eyes red but steady. I'm sorry. 3 words, that's all. No excuses, no speeches, just raw truth. Mama stood slowly, lips trembling. My daughter. Amina walked over and fell to her knees. I thought being strong meant controlling everyone. I didn't realize I was becoming the very thing I feared. Adaku stepped forward, gently lifting her. You came back. That's what matters. The days that followed felt like a new season had arrived. Amina cooked breakfast by herself. She let Chuka add too much pepper. She washed Papa's white calf. She asked Eber how her day was. Genuinely, it was awkward at first, like learning a new language. But slowly, healing began to stretch its limbs in their home. One Saturday, the Women and Youth Forum took place. Adaku was meant to speak, but before she could, she paused and turned to the crowd. There's someone here who has a story more powerful than mine, a story of change, courage, and reflection. Please, let Amina speak. The crowd shifted. Whispers rose. Amina stepped forward. Her voice for the first time shook. I thought leadership was about dominance, but it's about serving and healing. Starts with telling the truth, especially when the truth hurts you. The crowd rose in applause, not for perfection, but for humility. That night, the family sat under the stars, fufu and egusi soup warming their laps. Eber laughed loudly for the first time in years. Mama danced, clapping to music from the neighbor's radio. Papa raised a toast to redemption, and Amina, she leaned into Adaku's shoulder, whispering, "Thank you for not giving up on me." Adaku smiled. That's what sisters do. But far off, across the road, a car pulled up slowly, and from it stepped someone from Amina's past. The real test of her transformation was only just beginning. The stars had barely vanished from the lecky sky when the car door creaked open. The family home, freshly peaceful after months of torment, didn't know that another storm was brewing. A tall figure stepped out, black sunglasses, brown leather jacket, a scar above his left eyebrow. Amina's former fiancé, the man whose betrayal had once turned her heart to iron. He stood by the gate, breathing in the warm Lagos air as if trying to summon courage. In his hand was a letter creased and greasy. It had traveled a long way. Inside it, truths that would shake the family to its roots. Inside the house, Amina had just set the breakfast table. She whistled an actual tune. Mama was peeling yam in the kitchen. Papa was humming a song about old Nigeria. Suddenly, a knock. 3 sharp raps. Amina froze. Her heart seemed to pause mid-beat. She opened the door slowly and came face to face with her past. Her voice cracked. Osagi. He removed his sunglasses. Amina. They sat under the mango tree in the backyard, the same place she had once wept. I heard about the forum, Osagi began. Your speech, your change. Amina was wary. You disappeared when I needed you the most. I didn't vanish, he said. I was silenced by your father. Her eyes widened. He handed her the letter. It was addressed to her but had never been delivered. In it, Osagi wrote of how he'd asked for her hand, how Papa had rejected him for being beneath the family's name, how he was threatened to stay away or risk ruin. Tears brimmed. Amina stormed back into the house, letter in hand. Papa, did you do this? Papa, stunned, dropped his newspaper. I was protecting you, he said. You were controlling me, Amina shouted, just like I used to control everyone else. The confrontation cracked open old wounds, but this time, Amina didn't rage. She reasoned. She sat, listened, spoke without breaking. Her transformation wasn't just external. It was real, rooted. Weeks passed. Osagi stayed in Lagos, not to rekindle romance, but to rebuild respect. He helped Tadaku set up a new community book club. He joined Papa at the mosque and church one day each. He earned back something more valuable than love, trust. One Sunday, the family gathered for a barbecue. Children played. Laughter spilled over the compound walls. Amina looked at Osagi. I forgive you. He smiled. I never stopped praying for you. But just as peace settled, a car pulled up again. This time, it wasn't Oshagi. It was a woman, slim, stern, designer handbag, red heels, clicking. She looked around with the confidence of someone who had a secret weapon. Amina Ada, she asked. Yes. The woman smiled coldly. You're being summoned. Court papers, defamation, past leadership abuse. She dropped the envelope and walked away. The family stared in shock. Adaku picked up the document. What is this? Amina swallowed. My past is not done with me yet.